Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Today we are again alive, and today ESE Studio is hosting a very well-known, worldwide recognized guest, Dr. Gianluca Plotino, and I am putting him on the stage. Hello, Gianluca.
Good evening,
How are
Laura.
you?
Good evening. Fine, thanks. Thank you for your kind introduction.
And I also switch on Monica for a few seconds. She will be working as always on the backstage, collecting all your questions, all your comments. You are very warm welcome to join us, to engage with us with your questions and any comments. So Gianluca will be probably answering them at the end of our conversation. Thank you, Monica, and we are leaving you to work and collect all those questions. So, Gianluca, thanks once again for joining us. It is a huge pleasure and a privilege to have you in our live studio, and of course, as a speaker during the ESE Krakow meeting, which will be held on the 6th to 7th of September this year. And you will be sharing the stage with another great speaker together on a topic about the instrumentation. So I would like to introduce you. As I told everyone that you are a worldwide renowned speaker and educator. You are traveling the world. You have been active in the research, and you published more than 130 articles in the peer-review journals. You have 3 textbooks on endodontics, and you have contributed numerous of chapters in other books. No surprise, you are a winner of several research prizes. You obtained your PhD in 2009 and received certificates to become a professor of second and first level in 2017 and 2018. You are an associate editor of the European Education Journal and a part of the edit board of the Journal of Endodontics and several other international journals. You are a specialist member of the ESE. This is a great honor, and we're very happy to have you. And you are an active member and a president-elect of the Italian Academy of Endodontics. You own 4 patents and a startup. And currently you are working in your own private practice as endodontist. But the practice, as far as I understand, it's a multidisciplinary practice. And a few more very important facts about you. You are a husband and father of 1 year old and 3 months, 1 year and 3 months old little baby Matteo. And one thing that you like to relax in painting, yes, doing paintings. This is your hobby. Do you still have time for that?
Not that much, and do you see that I don't sleep so much by my face? But I like very much to relax myself by traveling around the world, and yeah, painting is something that I like to do in my free time. That I don't have that much now anymore, but I'm more than happy to use all my free time for my family.
Nice. So I have several questions for you, as for our new all our guests. And the first question is maybe not a question, but the request for you as a very experienced expert in the field. So we can probably now count about 30 years of rotary files era. And gene-driven night eye rotary files has changed endodontic practice significantly. We can witness that. You have been carefully observing this evolution and actively involved in testing, but also developing these technologies. So can you make a short overview from your real expert position?
Thank you so much for your question, and thank you so much for always for your kind words. Yes, it's even more than 30 years now that the nickel titanium appeared applied to the endodontic files. I was still a student in the university in the early 90s, or a student in the high school, really in the early 90s, when great endodontists started to plan the introduction of nickel titanium applied to endodontic instruments. So we have 30 years of evolution in a great revolution that we had in endodontics, because I always mention it as a nickel titanium night eye revolution, because it has really changed our clinical practice. And we can say that at the beginning, the efforts were done by research and by companies, manufacturers, and by clinicians to improve the characteristics of the instruments in terms of design, in terms of ability to cut, in terms of resistance to fracture. So the improvement of design has characterized the first years of the introduction of the night eye rotary files. And then we have reached a moment in which we could use very effective files, and so we have reduced the number of files used in any sequence. So this was the second great effort to be done, to reduce the number of files used to shape a root canal. And then we reached at the end of the first decade of this century, we have reached what I call really a second revolution in terms of nickel titanium instruments. That was the introduction of the reciprocating movement applied to the use of mechanical files. So this movement has been added to the rotary movement, to the full complete rotation, and this has been, in my opinion, another great revolution in the use of nickel titanium files. So a step ahead in the safety, in the effectiveness of use of the nickel titanium files. So these last decades has been then dedicated to the research and the improvement of the technological advancement of the properties of the files. And another revolution has been the introduction of the heat treatment applied to the nickel titanium metal. So heat treatments has improved the mechanical characteristics of the file, making them more resistant, making them more flexible. So this technological advancement has characterized the last years of research and evolution of the nickel titanium mechanical engine-driven files, so that now we have at our disposal really effective, efficient files, really performant files with great safety of use, so that we have really reached a really high standard of quality in the files that we can use today.
Yeah, but at the moment, globally, we have hundreds of different rotary systems. I don't know how many, probably over 300 different brands. And every manufacturer, of course, advocates the system as the most effective, efficient, and safe. And practitioners have a great challenge to select those systems. So what they rely on the dealers, on the sellers' words. Could you point out, as an expert, of course, the main criteria for night eye instruments that are very essential to know, let's say for general practitioners, to understand and to rely on while choosing an effective and safe rotary system?
This is not an easy question. This is not an easy question, yes. Because, as you said, there are so many files on the market. But first of all, I would like to mention the fact that the production of night eye files today has reached a high level, a high standards of quality. So it's much easier today to produce instruments with an high standard of quality. But of course, we have to rely the main manufacturers, the most important manufacturers, the one with the longest history in production of nickel titanium files, because we are sure that they have a quality control system that guarantees that we will receive in our hands instruments that has been really very well controlled, that they discard instruments that have variability in the production. But these standards, they are increasing very much in several brands and several type of instruments that we have today on the market. But of course, the reliable characteristics made by the historical brands for sure makes us safe in the use of these files, because they have a very high standard of control of the quality of the manufacturing. Then, of course, we can evaluate different properties, the type of cutting ability of the different files, but this is something more personal. The most important fact that we can analyze are the research studies published in the most important journals, and here I have to mention the International Endodontic Journal is the most important journal in endodontics today, and is the journal of the European Society of Endodontology. We can trust the quality of the peer review of this journal and other journals that publish the very interesting results that can tell us about the properties of the files, about the safety of the files, about the quality of shaping given by these files.
Yes. What you advise, for example, for the beginners? What kind of system would you advise to choose? For example, if people want to start, you as educator, for example, you have someone who comes to your course and they ask, okay, I'm doing some endo, I'm trying to do easy cases, I will start from the easy cases. What system would you recommend? Of course, we should not maybe name some brands, but maybe kinematics or
of course
less files or whatsoever. What would you? Of course, less files are less complicated.
you know, I'm addicted with the reciprocating movement, but again, this is always a personal preference. So in my my personal preference is to I take advantage of the safety of the reciprocating movement, of the easy way to use of this movement and the instruments applied with this movement. So it has been also studied and demonstrated that reciprocating movement, the learning curve to be applied to understand how to use safely the reciprocating instruments is shorter rather than what we can do with manual or rotary files. So this is something, for example, for undergraduates or for newbies, for new generation, as you asked me, to take into consideration. Probably reciprocating instruments are what I can suggest because of their safety and the easy way how to use them. Yes, and then I have personal preference of instruments with an high cutting efficiency, because in my opinion, if an instrument has an high cutting efficiency, it efficiently cuts dentin, so it efficiently advances inside the root canal. It more easily reach the working length without efforts, without the need to push on the file. So if you if you reduce the need to push on the tip of the file, you always reduce the risk for fracture or for creating iatrogenic errors. So this can be something that I can suggest, but I always say that in endodontics, as in dentistry in general, there are a lot of ways to reach the same point. We like to say, all roads leads to Rome, but you can reach Rome through several roads. So this is mainly related to personal preferences at the end.
Of course, yes. That's why there are so many files and so many choices. Okay, so we clearly know that complete mechanical instrumentation is impossible. None of existing files is the ideal in this matter. What is the impact of mechanical instrumentation on treatment outcome, and what are the milestones of instrumentation methodologies?
Yes, we clearly know from studies, from historical studies, that none of the existing instrumentation technique, nor manual, nor mechanical, rotational or reciprocational, no one instrument in the world is able to touch 100% of the root canal walls. we all know that during our instrumentation phase, we will always leave a certain percentages of the root canal walls untouched by the mechanical instrumentation. This is why we have also to rely to the irrigating procedures and to the new devices that may improve the quality of disinfection. So I like to speak always about a chemomechanical phase step of the root canal treatment. And to establish the influence of the mechanical instrumentation itself on the outcome directly on the outcome of our treatment is not that easy, because there is lack of studies, of clinical studies demonstrating the influence of the instrumentation, because it's not easy to isolate this parameter respect to several others, like the other steps of the root canal treatment, like irrigation or obturation. And this is something that Anna and me, we will underline during our lecture in the Krakow meeting, because we are going to speak about the S3 clinical guidelines in this meeting, and Anna and Sebastian Barklin has written the systematic review on the basis of the clinical guidelines in terms of the influence of instrumentation on the clinical outcomes. And so we will speak very, very much about that, because it's a difficult topic. And what I can anticipate is that
yeah, Gianluca, we have a little bit problems with your connection, but
can you hear me now?
Repeat? Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that we can find. Yes, we can find a bit of influence in terms of the modern techniques, like the use of mechanical files, respect of the older techniques like the manual instrumentation. This may have an impact on the quality and on the outcome of our root canal instrumentation and our root canal treatments. Despite there will be no many differences among the different files, the different mechanical instruments that we can use today.
Thank you. Over the decade, and the world is focused on healthy tissue preservation. We witnessed lots of discussion on minimally invasive dentistry in general, and of course, in endodontics as well. The scope is mainly put on the minimally invasive access opening to protect certain parts of the tooth that I believe to be essential for the support of the occlusal forces and so on. But the reduced access cavity might influence the performance of the rotary files and might result in increased risk of some kind of alterations, for example, like ledging, transportation, and so on. So, however, now there is a significant technological advancement like a heat treatment, so that makes files extremely flexible. And those all advancements give to the instruments new features, new benefits. And is it so that in clinical practice, we are moving much more faster forward with all these technologies, and still the science cannot give us a good background, or how we can say that this is a scientifically proven, but we can do another level of endodontics and good treatment, but still the science is somewhere a little bit behind this, the art of endodontics, the practical art of endodontics.
Yeah, this is a very controversial topic, and thanks for your question. This is very, very demanding question. I have to say that I always have this approach that paradigms shift over the years, over the decades. So we have always to be open-minded. We have not to be always focused on the same rules taught us at the universities, for example, or when we started to practice. We must be always open to new changes and new paradigms to come, and to change what we considered the basis before, and now can be changed. And this minimally invasive trend is something that is going very very fast, and for the research is always difficult to follow this speed that we have in clinical practice. So it's very difficult to demonstrate statistically significant results by doing this type of researches. What I can say is that I don't like extremisms. I don't like extremisms of one side, from one side or from another side. So for me, the middle is the truth is always in the middle. On this topic, we can find a good balance, in my opinion, in between the maximum tooth structure preservation and the maximum root canal disinfection, the maximum maintenance of root canal anatomy, and the maximum way to use our root canal files. So there is the need, in my opinion, to follow this concept of minimal invasive dentistry that exists in general in dentistry, also in endodontics, because the preservation, the resistance of the tooth and the long-term outcome of the teeth is mainly related to how much dental structure we are able to save during our treatment. So we have to always focus and try to have this in mind and this objective in mind to preserve as much tooth structure as possible, but this must not impair the quality and the safety of our treatment. And as you were saying, we today have so performant instruments that these techniques and these minimally invasive approaches can be applied to modern endodontics, because in modern endodontics we have such kind of technological improvements. We couldn't do this before because we had different characteristics. Exactly. We have microscopes,
not only instruments, but also
instruments. Exactly.
Yes, this is the full complex issue. Yeah, thank you. Teeth anatomy is extremely diverse. It's what we are dealing every single day. Yes. How to manage these challenges in clinical practice in terms of mechanical instrumentation? Can we have only one file system, or do we need 2 file systems, or do we need 5? How to deal?
I have to say I have to mention.
Is it about instruments?
Yeah, I have to mention our great teachers that always say that everything has changed in endodontics, but the anatomy. And the anatomy, we already know how difficult it is, and this is the main problem that we have to face as endodontists. And this is the main challenge that we have to face during our instrumentation and that our instruments has to face. So we are going to have instruments with properties that permits us to treat day by day the most clinically difficult anatomies. We can also say that probably one size doesn't fit all, but honestly speaking, the trend is to reduce the number of files as much as possible to single file techniques, for example, because we have to imagine that we are shaping a round shape inside an irregular root canal, but we are doing this round shape with almost all the instruments that we have. So in my opinion, if we can obtain this treatment, this shape, this basic shape of instrumentation with just one file instead of more than one file, it's an advantage in our clinical practice. So in my opinion, 80 to 90% of the canals we can treat with a reduced number of files in terms of a basic preparation. That means that then you have to address some specific points like lateral anatomies, like ovalities, like individual anatomies of the individual canals, like sides of apical preparation, for example. And in some specific case, most complex cases, you may also take advantage to use different type of files integrated themselves in a hybrid sequence, for example, to take advantage of files with different characteristics.
Yes, to mix systems in between each other. Yes, yeah.
Exactly.
So the next question is about the smear layer, which is a product of mechanical instrumentation. It is scientifically shown that presence of the smear layer may negatively impact disinfection as well as sealers adhesion. We know all that. What is your opinion on non-instrumentation or minimal instrumentation concept whenever it is possible to introduce disinfection solutions to minimize or as such.
Yeah, this is an interesting advancement that we are facing in endodontics today, and another great hot topic that we have to face with. And theoretically and technically, everything will permit us to obtain the gold standard in disinfection and in removal of intracanal content without enlarging the root canals may be very well welcome from my point of view. And this may be probably the future, the direction that we have to follow and the companies have to follow to find a good solution that may find the balance between the disinfection and removal of intracanal contents and the use of minimally instrumentation techniques, but also we must find a balance with the costs of these techniques, because in my opinion today the main limitations of these techniques are the costs, because standard general practitioner cannot afford the cost of these devices. So for me, the challenge of the companies in the next future will be to find a way to create a device that may have a limited cost by guarantee, by having the guarantee that to create a very good debridement and disinfection with a minimal invasive preparation, and then overcoming the problem of filling a root canal space that has not been enlarged. So this will be some challenges for me in the next future.
In the nearest future, perhaps. Let's hope. Yes. And gene-driven, this is the question for you as for an editor of the journal, so the member of editorial board. And gene-driven instrument fracture is one of the major concerns for the dentist. Despite that fact, there are only few observational retrospective studies on the incidence of instrument fracture and comparative ex vivo studies. Instead of that, there are plenty of publications on cyclic and torsional resistance, which have been shown to be not clinically relevant most of the times. Very interesting information can be obtained from comparative ex vivo studies that are well conducted. Why we still see those maybe relevant publications accepted by the journals? Maybe you can comment.
No, but I have to say that
many studies that
nowadays the most important journals, such as the International Endodontic Journal, they do not accept this type of studies, mechanical studies anymore. If these results are not included in a bigger study. So I have contributed to this amount of publication in the early 20s, in the early 2000s, because I have published a lot of studies on mechanical properties of mechanical files. But I have to say that but in my opinion, in that historical moment, we needed to understand this. And we needed to understand these properties. Now we are plenty of these publications, so I agree that this is no more needed, and this research must be conducted by the manufacturer themselves. So I have to say that serious journal, they do not accept anymore these results as a result, if not part of a much bigger study on mechanical properties of the file. So this step has already been done since several years in the most important journals in endodontics, and now we are seeing, for example, in International Endodontic Journals, very beautiful studies on the mechanical features of new files that includes so many data about the mechanical properties and the performance of the files that they are very informative. But in just one study, we have all the information that we need about not one, but even 5, 6 or more different type of instruments. So they are publications that require a very big effort by the author, because there are a lot of data, so many data to be obtained and concentrated in just one study that is not easy this is a not easy study to be performed today, and it merits publication nowadays.
Great. So, as I already mentioned at the beginning of our interview, that you are going to be a keynote speaker at the ESE autumn meeting in Krakow, and you will have a presentation. You will share the stage with Anna. Can you just highlight the main points of your presentation, just for the audience, what to expect?
Yes, this time my partner in crime will be Anna Arias, and it will be a pleasure for me to share the stage with her. This was our decision because we initially had 2 different spaces of half an hour each on the same topic, so we had to divide the topic. So we decided, being just 1 hour in total, to join our lecture together and to share the topic. So it will be very, very nice for us. We will speak on Friday morning, and we will speak about research background and gaps in knowledge on root canal instrumentation. So we will speak about the research part of this relationship between the translational relationship between the clinical guidelines published by the ESE and the clinical practice. So we will speak about mainly the research part. Before of us, the other invited speakers, they will speak mainly about the clinical part. So Anna and me, we will have a look mainly on the results that have been published in the clinical guidelines that are based on the fantastic systematic review published by Anna with Sebastian Bortlein on the International Endodontic Journal, in which they have reviewed all the articles regarding the instrumentation, selecting the articles that has been published, the high quality articles that may give us some very interesting results. So we will go through this hard work that they have done, publishing these results and giving these conclusions. But we will also try to find the gap in knowledge and the future directions on this topic. So we will perform an excursus on the research on this topic and what can be done to help clinicians then to have this translational this translation between the research and the clinic. And so we will be more than happy to share the stage in this occasion, this really great occasion for us. This autumn meeting is always very nice meeting to share time with a lot of very good friends and colleagues.
Yeah, this time, this is, I would like to say to everyone that this is an open meeting. This is the unique opportunity for everyone to attend and to receive the very concentrated information from only one hall and from all the speakers to collect the most important points of information. And as you said, there will be clinical perspective and scientific perspective, research perspective. So I think for everyone, for specialists, for researchers, for clinicians, for general dentists, that should be very, very important and very interesting event. So Gianluca, thank you very much. As a last request, I used to have the request to you to invite the colleagues in your language. It is in Italian language, but what I want to say that with all recent technologies, we will apply artificial intelligence in translation, so people can get the translation in their language, high quality, medically based language. The terminology will be applied in that artificial intelligence translation. So we probably can offer up to 30 languages to be translated at the same time when you will be talking on the stage. So probably there is no need for anyone to talk in their own language and to have an old school translation because of this artificial intelligence. So everyone who knows English, who doesn't know English, Polish, Lithuanian, whatsoever, Italian, they are very welcome and they will understand every single point of every presentation. So this is very nice. So thank you very much, Gianluca. It was very nice to host you. And actually, I think we all have had a great time. I would like to invite Monica.
Let me invite the people in Italian now.
Of course. Let me and Monica get out from the stage, and we will let you to do this alone. Okay.
Amici italiani, voi siete sempre numerosi ai meeting della Società Europea di Endodonzia e quindi sono qui con grande piacere ad invitarvi a partecipare numerosi a questo Autumn Meeting che si terrà a Cracovia il 6 e il 7 settembre prossimi, perché sarà veramente un grande meeting con grandissimi relatori e con degli argomenti veramente interessanti. Vi aspetto a Cracovia.
Everything was understood just because of this perfect artificial intelligence translation. Thank you very much, Gianluca. Monica, do you have any questions? I can see chat and people greeting us. So there is Antonio Scaniotis. Yeah. Then some our friends, they will be very happy to see us in Lisbon just in 1 week. So do we have any questions?
We do not have any questions for now. Feel free in our last couple of minutes to share any questions you have or comments in the chat box. And yes. I take the opportunity to welcome everybody to Krakow. So the dates are 6th and 7th of September. And we are very much looking forward to seeing you there. For additional information and more detailed information on Krakow and the scientific program, just make sure to go to the Autumn Meeting website, where you will find all detailed information on the program and the faculty as well.
Yes, and the time is ticking because the early bird registration ends in 31st of May. So just be quick to reserve your seats and of course to join us in this fantastic event, I guess. Thank you, Gianluca. Thanks a lot for your time once again. And it was a huge pleasure, and we'll see you very soon. And for those who still will think about some things and have some questions, but they don't want to present them here, so they will have an opportunity to meet you in Krakow and to discuss all these very important issues, I think, with you directly in person and live. So thank you very much. Thanks, dear colleagues, and have a great evening or morning, because I think people are connecting from all over the world. And have a great day and see you in Krakow.
Thank you so much. See you.
Bye.